Been losing my mind, doing battle with Trixie. Get a call from America's cardroom. Uruguay, they tell me. How did they know? Who told them? Was it Arturo, I ask? It's a country, they tell me. And my mission is to play poker tournaments there for a week. Gotta get the okay from Trixie. Could we please do a ceasefire? I gotta go to Uruguay. She gives me her approval. Thank you. But not without a promise that when I return, I'd press the spin button like I used to. On YouTube, 21 hours of travel only takes one head turn. Wow, it's Uruguay. Let's go play poker, dude. Here I am. Enjoy Punta del Este. We're gonna play a $440 bounty, then a $3K high roller fucking jump off. But first, we're gonna play this bounty tournament. Experts say you should never late reg a bounty tournament. Fuck do they know? They also say, don't lose first tournament in your poker vlog within 4 hands. They haven't been in the shit like we have. So we spit in those hippies' faces and do punt in 4 hands. Quickly, we've lost our 440. But it's time to regroup and get ready for the 3300. The highest buying event of the series, and it's only my first day here. Start you with 40K in chips, and there's 40-minute levels. So let's get into some hands. Let's get in this shit. Blinds are 200, 400 with a 400 ante. But it's not from the big blind. Here, all the locals have seemed to agree to have the dealer button pay the ante. I don't want to be rude, so I adhere to this silly custom for the rest of the events I play here. First big hand is we look down at jacking suited. They say jacking suited usually means you're in a public place, as opposed to jacking naked, and therefore it's a crime. We raise to 1100. Both blinds, they call our raise, but in the big blind, well, that guy's my boss and friend, Phil Naggy, and I'm forever grateful to him, as it's thanks to my deal with ACR, in large part, I no longer have to work a human job. But at this time, on the felt, out here with Charlie, my mission is to take Colonel Naggy down with extreme prejudice. Flop comes. Queen 5-4 rainbow with 1 heart. All 3 of us decide to move on to the turn. A turn that gives us top pair. It's a king. Brings backdoor spades. Small blind checks. Mr. Naggy bets 1200. And we feel we have the best hand. Enough for the time here. And enough of his draws will still continue. And we're deep enough that we need to get value here. We're deep stack, so we raise to 3K. Small blind folds, and Mr. Naggy calls. The river is the 2 of whatever. No flushes get there. He checks. Time to get more value from a stubborn queen, a worse king. So we bet 5K. But instead of folding or calling, he grabs 3 times as many chips and raises to 15K. Gets most people I fold, in fact, almost all. But he's wild. So wild that I almost feel bad using hand histories we have shared and my knowledge of his spew abilities against him. It's like taking candy from a baby. I call. But fuck, he has 5-4 of diamonds. We lose a massive pot. Half our stack, in fact. And we're not planning to re-enter. Halfway across the world, not knowing the language with half my starting stack. This sucks. The blinds are still 200, 400, 400. When a guy in middle position has raised to some Spanish amount. But he only threw out a single 1K chip. And me not speaking the native tongue, I was too insecure to clarify exactly how much he made it. What we do know is it's at least 800 and the most 1,000. So when we look down at pocket queens in the big blind, we figure a 3-bet to 4K is appropriate regardless of his size. We go ahead and 3-bet, and he jams. He goes all in for our 21K effective. 52 big blinds. We snap call, and he's already mad. He has pocket 9s, and he fucking should be mad. We hold and double back up to starting stack. 42K, bit of a relief. Losing half your stack early on sucks, so glad to get it back. Blinds are now up, 250, 500, 500. And it folds to us in the cutoff. We have an ace and a king, and they're both spades. We raise to 1,200. Both the blinds, they agree to this price. And we get a nice flop for our hand. King 10-7. It's all red, though, 2 diamonds and 1 heart. They both pass me the ball, and I take a shot, bet 2,000. The gentleman might not be gentle at all. I don't know what he's saying. He might be a piece of shit. The gentleman in the small blind disagrees with that size and raises 6K. Big blind folds, and we're not folding. We're calling with some caution. Many straight draws, 2 pairs, flush draws. But he's an old man. We're hoping for a safe turn card, and we get just what we hope for. A 2 of spades comes on the turn. He bets 10K now, pretty quickly. The pot's getting big, but we can't fold yet. We call. And the river comes, 9 of hearts. Not a good river, but let's see what this guy does. Oh, he snap bets 10K again. Damn, the pot was 36K. I only need to be right about 21% of the time. But this is all bullshit tank excuses for the weak. No need to get stubborn and suck at poker just because I don't want to give up on a pot. When a guy's telling you he has it, he just fucking has it. There's no such thing as percentage. We find the correct fold, and he's nice enough to show us King 7 for 2 pair, and we're happy with our discipline. Our stack is back down to 27K, but we don't mind. Blinds are still 250, 500, 500. When Colonel Naggy raises the button into my big blind for 1100. We have an ace. Really don't need to see the other card, but it happens to be a 9. They're not suited. We call. Flop comes ace 7-4 with 2 diamonds, which we have none of. But no matter, we have a good hand, top pair, against a wild animal. We check. He bets 600. We call. Keep him in with his bluffs. Turn is a 3 of whatever. And we pass the ball again. Ball's in your court, boss. And he says, okay, I bet 2100. And yet again, no choice here other than call. If we raise, he'll stop bluffing with his bluffs. And none of his worst hands are going to continue. That's a bad time to bet. When you fold out worse and make only better hands continue, it's called a dumb move. So anyway, we call. The river's coming down. 8.3K in the middle, and the river's a queen. We pass the ball again to him, let him hang himself. He bets 4,600 now, a little more than half pot. And I'm unsure if I have the best hand, but I have a hunch. So I call. Once I call, my hunch grows to a strong suspicion because he then says,
can you beat 10 high?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can, boss. We win a nice little pot. We then lose a small pot. Bloody fucking blah. And the blinds are now up. 300, 600 with a 600 fucking bunny but a nanny. The hijack, a.k.a. the shark cunt, as we call it, raises to 1,200. And us? Well, we're in the cutoff, and we have a pair 5. So we call. We're not folding. Big blind calls, too. I don't think they believe in heads-up pots here in Uruguay. The flop's looking bad. A king, then a 6. Went out of nowhere, like spotting a pretty girl at a cat lover convention. We get our cinco, also known as a 5. 2 other check. I gotta be a little sneaky. I check behind, give him a chance to catch up. Turn is a jack, and both check again to me. I'm like, all right, I've given you guys enough time to catch up. I gotta start putting money in this pot. We bet 1,500, just 1/3 of the 4,500 that's in the pot. The big blind, an older gentleman, playing pretty straightforward. Same one as in the King 7 hand. We folded our ace king. Well, he's check raising us again. He raises to 4,600. The hijack folds. I consider raising because now we're confident he has some big hand like 2 pair or big top pair. But we don't raise, just in case he has bluffs. Same as the last hand against Phil. We don't want to let the fish off the hook. If they're hanging themselves, let them continue to do it. So we just call. The river comes a 9. And with 16K remaining in his stack, he bets 5 of them, 5,000 into the 13.7K pot. Now I'm like, he's not folding his 2 pair. He could have a straight, but better, I'm getting value. So we go all in, 11K more. He whines but calls, shows his jack 6, sees the bad news. His hand was never good. Big pot we pick up. We profit about 19K chips. Our stack's around 48K now. Not bad. They build in a 15-minute break designed for the weak-bladdered old men and chicken shit boys to do whatever they need to in the bathroom or smoke their drugs outside. They return to the table where I never left. Play is back resumed. 501K with a 1K button ante. We got ace king again. We're under the gun. It's off suit. We raise to 2K. Then the guy next to me, under the gun +1, he decides, yo, fuck off. And he goes all in for 24K. Nice. Just as we're getting D-Gen tingles, all excited to call, the guy next to him, +2, rejams. Problem with this guy is our 48 big blind stack covered. We're about to be at risk. It folds to us, and I have a decision here. But since I'm under 47 years old and not brain dead, I know folding ace king is not a fucking option, so it's not a decision. Despite the show of strength from these two, slam dunk call. Cards are in their back. Turns out Mr. Sneaky, who had us covered, has the same 2 cards of us, just different suits, ace king. Just like that, he's gone from an enemy to a friend. Our interests aligned when we were torn so far apart moments ago. Our goal is beat the short stack between us, the 24 big blind stack, and splitting those spoils. What are we up against with our ace kings? Ace jack. This guy's fucked. The inevitable happens, and the rich get richer, each of us taking 12K, splitting the fallen man's carcass in half. We win another little pot in our stack. Once down to 21K after paying Mr. Naggy off is now healthy at 65K. It's a level later, 600, 1200, 1200. We have pocket jacks. Kryptonite for old men coffee in the States. But it's spinach and we're Popeye out here in the shit. We raised to 2400 and it folds around to the small blind, who just flats. He only has about 20 bigs in his stack. A little weird. And in the big blind, it's Colonel Naggy. He's around 34K in his stack. A little under 30 bigs. And he 3-bets half his stack, 15K. Now, some people have suggested I should have folded. But luckily, those people are dead now. We go all in. Small blind folds, and our boss and friend, now enemy on the felt, calls while saying, I hope we're flipping. We are indeed, my boss. He has ace queen of different suits. As we start our flip, I learn that Mr. Naggy does not look at the board as a superstition of some kind. And I go ahead and power move 3-bet his superstition and stare right into his eyes, fighting every degen instinct in me to watch the board run out. I could play his game of degenerate superstition chicken. I don't need to see the board. It's tearing me apart. But finally, I look down at the board after it's run out, and it's 4-3-7-3-2 or some shit. We've won. But at what cost? He's mad. He's getting up. Have we lost our job? Is he mad? I'm not sure. So help my cause today and play in America's Card Room. Sign up using sign-up code GAMBLER. Our stack is now 101K. If we had a Dalmatian for every 1K, we would have a piece of shit Disney movie. That's pure nostalgia bait if you think it's good, but it's like not good. At 800, 1600 with a 1600 ante, we raise a few times, but have to fold. We have Jack 9 off. Some guy 3-bets, we fold. We have pocket 8. Some guy jammed, blah, blah, blah. We get check raised in a small pot and lost. Now we only have 80 Dalmatians. 21 are dead. But it's always darkest before the dawn, I guess. Or whatever. I mean, I think that isn't just like a matter of fact. Like it's always sunniest before it stops being the sunniest. Like what the fuck is that saying, darkest before the dawn? And it's not even that dark anyway, but the fucking setup is this is the craziest hand I've ever played. We have 80 Dalmatians. We haven't looked at our hand yet. Early position has jammed, 12K. Folds to us in middle position. We got pocket queens. Some of the weak, isolate, re-raise. We're not scared. The fuck out of here. Just call, baby. So we just call the 12K out of our 80K stack. Then the cutoff decides he wants to get involved. And he jams for 40K. Perfect. This is why you do shit like this. Then it gets less exciting when the button is in the tank and he has around 60 Dalmatians. 2 people are already all in, and we have him covered, and we're yet to act. He has about 40 bigs, and he also goes all in. So 3 all-ins, and it folds to us with queens. And I would say only about 40% of the time do I have the best hand here. However, we're only 1 out of 4 people in the pot. I know that's maybe not how pot odds work, but it doesn't matter. And more importantly, though, I don't make it a habit to fold queens pre-flop for under 40 bigs, bro. So we obviously call. Chance to knock out 3 players, make a ton of chips. Huge swing. What are we up against? One by one, we see pocket 10s, pocket jacks, and then the biggest other stack. A guy with 60K who can really cripple us has ace queen. We're in amazing shape. This is great news. But people like me who've been in this shit, we know we're not even a favorite. We actually have less than 50% chance to win this pot, believe it or not. 42%. Sometimes poker gods just hook you up. Here's a run out.
Yes!
You win!
Vamo. We end up bagging 154K after roller coaster day 1. Unsure if we pissed people off or what was said about us. We spoke few words. We're trying to get a grasp and learn the ways of the natives, what they're speaking, what they're saying. And I believe it's called Espanol. Nevertheless, gotta take our mind off it. We have day 2 tomorrow. It's time to sleep. Day 2. We're late. It's time for day 2. I guess I'm a different person now. I don't fucking know. Money feels far away. 16 paid and 68 of us are returning. But first place is 105K. Min cash is 7,200 and we have an above average stack. So there is some hopium in the air. But we don't want to gain too much hope. Because we always try to make too much happen on a day 2 if we're too amped up. So the blinds are at 1K, 2K with a 2K button ante. We have 154K. First orbit. Folds to us in the small blind. We look down at ace queen off. And then we look down at the big blind stack, and he has 13 big blinds, 26K. So we go all in, and we're happy when he calls. We're even happier when he shows a 7. We win the pot. Good start to the day. 2 hands later, we're in the cutoff. But the button, well, he's that guy I just took care of before, blind versus blind. So it's a muerta button, and I'm really the spiritual button. which on a side note, because they do button ante here instead of big blind ante, hands like this with a dead button result in random pots where there is no ante, making the system shit. Big blind ante, let's fucking go. But anyway, call us the button for this hand. So the cutoff has 70K in his stack. He raises to 4,500. We're in the button. We look down at ace jack off. We could 3-bet, but decide to flat. It's way better to just flat and play plot, blah, blah, blah. We go heads up to the flop. So go one. Ace jack 8 rainbow. We basically have the nuts. Enough that unless the board runs out joker, we're basically trying to get all his money in. Floppy checks to us. We bet 3,500, and the cutoff now basically min clicks to 7,500, which a lot of players were doing here in Uruguay. I'd later realize. I don't know if I don't really know what the fuck he's doing, but I don't want to scare him off, so we just call. I think when somebody check raises so small, it's usually not a bluff, and they're feeling like they have a great hand and trying to extract max value. Either way, we have better value than him. Anyway, we're just calling. We'll see what goes down on the turn. Turn is a 3. He bets 15K into a pot of 27K. So after his bet, there's 42K in the pot now, and he has 43K in his stack. Of course, in the moment live, I'm just ballparking and estimating, and sometimes I fuck it up because I can't count chip stacks that well. But going all in seems like the move. Seems to be repping big enough that he won't fold. So we jam, and he calls relatively quick. But we see the bad news. He has ace-6 suited. He's drawing dead. And we're robbed of a sweat. Too bad. But the good news is we win his chips without any risk. 240K is in our stack now. Of course, I'm being sarcastic. We love it when they call off drawing dead. Great fucking start to the day, first level. We win a pot with queens when we raise and get 3 callers, and we lose a few. Now we're at the next level. Blinds 1,200, 2,400, 2,400. Old man in the cutoff raises to 6K, and we look down at ace-queen on the button. We probably should flat versus a bigger raise and an old man, but whatever. We 3-bet to 17K. He calls. We're heads up to a flop that comes ace, 7, 4, 2-tone. He checks. And I don't know why, but I check back to be sneaky. I mean, I do know why. At the time, I didn't want him to not pay us anything with his under pairs, jacks, queens, tens, maybe even kings, but he probably doesn't have kings. Whatever. Anyway, we got a little sneaky. Turn comes a jack. He checks. We bet 10K into the pot of 40K, quarter pot. He calls. Now the river, there's 60K in the middle, and it comes a king. He checks again, and I think we have to go for more value, especially since we think we disguised our ace. I don't know. The king makes it hard to get paid from tens or queens or whatever, and we lose to jacks. But anyway, we bet 15K. He snap calls and turns over a set of jacks. So maybe we fucked ourselves with a check on the flop, but we didn't lose too much. Whatever, he could have got more out of us. Not to worry. At 1,500, 3K with a 3K big button ante, a different old man raises from the hijack to 7K. And we have pocket queens on the button, and we 3-bet to 21K. This guy calls. The flop comes all clubs. King 7-2. We have the queen of clubs. Yes, we do. This guy just donk jams for like 55K. And I make the easy fold. Like, let the fact that I'm folding with pocket queens and a club illustrate to you how betting too big lets your opponents play perfect. Like, when you bet that big and that weird and donk lead in the wrong spots, you're only ever setting yourself up to get called by better hands, and everything worse just makes an easy fold. So you kind of fuck yourself. Like, I'm sure he just had ace king with the ace of clubs or some stupid shit like that. We're up to the next level. And our stack really hasn't improved a ton from the early hands in the day. We're back up to 250K. There's around 30 people left already. 16 paid. Shot clock is in play. I can smell the cash. I can smell the hope. I can smell the man next to me. So 2,500, 5K with a 5K button ante. We're under the gun and we have pocket kings. We raise that bitch to 10K. Under the gun +2, a young competent player, seemingly. He has about 25 bigs in his stack, 125K. He 3-bets. 24K. It's a small 3-bet, but I'm still getting a boner here. I'm excited. Folds to us, and we go all in. He put in a fifth of his stack. I don't know how many 3-bet folds he'd have off the stack depth, but so we go all in. He calls. He has pocket tens. Let's fucking go. Massive pot for us. Half our stack in the middle, nearing the money. Go to the footage. So yeah, that was a painful river card. It hurt. I'm not gonna. I ain't gonna lie, but we still have 25 big blinds ourselves in a stack of 125K. You know, it hurt, but what are you gonna do? What do you want me to do? So now we gotta be in battle mode. Now we gotta really think about the bubble a little bit, make our 25 big blinds work. We went from being comfortable relatively throughout this whole tournament to now like on edge. We raised 2 pots with normal raises, and twice we get 3-bet. And we had hands that have to fold. We weren't like too wide or anything. Now we're down to 78K, 18 big blinds, just like that, bamboozled for this hand, and we're in the big blind. We've looked down out of turn at king, queen off. Under the gun +2, but he's 7-handed, whatever. He's raised to 10K. The two guys to his left have calls. There's a raise to 10K and 2 callers. We got 18 bigs, king, queen off in the big blind. And we figure if we get through the first guy, we're gravy, bro. Everyone's gonna fold. So we go ahead and jam. 26 left now, 16 paid. Our life is at risk. Hopefully nobody calls. Under the gun +1, the original raiser. Snap rejams, fuck. Maybe we're flipping, we hope. The other two fold, but then we see ace, queen, double fuck. We're not flipping, we are pretty fucked. We need a king and we're praying for a king. We ask the gods for a king and it works, yo. Somehow we get a king. But we forgot to pray that he also doesn't get an ace, which he does. So we don't hit our 2-outer on the Turner River, and just like that, our run is over on the sort of bubble. But I don't feel that bad actually this time. For all the tournaments and recent vlogs when I play like complete shit, I think we played actually not bad in this. We were patient and just let the whatevers fall where they whatever, some shit, whatever the fuck they say.
Make the booty bounce on the dance floor.
Now, he doesn't deserve any applause. He called with King Jack.